So it is here. August 20th, 2024 saw the release of the 5th expansion for Guild Wars 2 and the second since they shifted to a yearly update model, Janthir Wilds. This is the first time we have glimpsed this section of Tyria ever. Being north of Divinity's Reach and on a luscious coastline, we have plenty of new areas to see. From the thick forest home of the lowland Coden to the ancient ruins of a bloodstone experimented on by the White Mantle, dozens of new enemies to face as well as interesting new threats to the local ecosystems. This expansion has had a fair bit of hype leading up to it with the introduction of spears to all classes on land, the lowland Coden themselves, the possible resurgence of the White Mantle, and a new enemy from long ago. Top all that off with the new player housing system, and ANET has a lot of expectations for this expansion. But I'm here to ask the question, did they live up to it? My name is Silabus, and in this quick review I'll go over all topics and let you guys know my initial thoughts of the expansion. Let's start with the story and the new maps first. When you get into the first map, Lowland Shore, you will find yourself on an Astral Ward base camp called Moon Camp. Here you will see lots of familiar faces, from the Norn Who Never Sleeps Frode, to the stars of Secrets of the Obscure, the constructs of Galdra. The camp easily brings back the feeling of walking through the Wizard Tower, a place of familiarity from the last expansion, and is a nice jump off point to the forest underneath, as you literally must jump off the floating island and glide down to it. You start by looking for some Astral Ward members who went missing in the forest, only to find them being attacked by a feral Warclaw. In this part of the world they aren't called that though, but are referred to as Journey Kits, though I'll be using Warclaw for this review. As we fight with the Warclaw, we are introduced to some grizzly bear looking Coda who hand us a salve they use to calm down the Warclaws. We are then tasked to subdue the Warclaw, but not kill it. Through a few more fights and heavy use of the salve, the Warclaw calms down enough to where we can take it to the local Coda village. Here, we meet with the chief of the Lowland Coda, Stoic Alder. Stoic Alder is the head of the Lowland Coda, but refers to a small group of elders for news around the village. Each elder focuses on a different area for the village, from weaving, hunting, and farming. While we are told the Lowland Coda were wary of anything remotely dealing with magic, they seemed all but eager to hear our words of a unified Tyria and discussion about a new threat inside the Janthir Bay. We are told that, for the time being, the Lowland Coda village welcomes us with open arms as Stoic Alder and the others talk more about letting in more outsiders to the village and learn their ways. As we venture through the town, we are taught new things about the Coda, the surrounding area, and of a new corruption that is sweeping across the bay as of late. From helping in the forest to take on newly corrupted animals ranging from reindeer, bears, wolves, and warclaws, to helping out in pens of warclaws in training, we get to learn more from the surrounding area. We learn that they have become adept in fighting with spears. This will unlock the use of spears once the mastery level is acquired on all characters on your account. There are also dangers in Lowland Shore, such as the Bog Queen, a human-looking necromancer who thrives on the new corruption in the area. There is plenty to do and new items to collect as you venture through the lowlands. As you continue through the story, you will eventually find your way further north across the bay with Stoic Alder's son, Poised Arrow, aka Pokey. Pokey heard of some rumblings in the Janthir Sentry, and we caught him before he left. We told him he wasn't going alone and found out this was an operation to find one of the missing chiefs from the village. As we explore this new land with Pokey, we stumble onto the source of the corruption. It would seem that an old foe from over 300 years ago still walks the land. A Titan. These creatures hailed from Abaddon's realm in the domain of Anguish, the foundry of failed creation. They were thought to have been exterminated when the Char, who seen them as gods, rebelled against them, but it would seem at least one is alive and trying to spread its influence across the Isles of Janthir. While we fight one of the Titan's generals as it walks away, we know that our path will cross again, sooner or later. We ask for aid from both the Astral Ward and the Lowland Coda to look into the matter of the Titan. as being in such close proximity to it is a threat to both groups if it is allowed to live. As we scout more through the Janthir century, we find ruins of an old White Mantle outpost along with the remains of something eerily familiar, the remnants of a bloodstone. We thought back to when Balthazar, the human god of war, found a bloodstone and recklessly destroyed it to tap into its magical properties. Thankfully with this one, it seems smaller, or at least more self-contained, as it did not destroy a large chunk of Tyria. Ghosts of those sacrificed to the bloodstone linger in the area, as well as souls trapped inside of bloodstone shards. We do free some and ask what they remember. Some of the ghosts don't understand what's going on. Others fully well know what they did. Some are sacrificed as prisoners of war, others poor souls who were stalked on in the woods. Still others seem to be souls who fell prey to their own insidious machinations. As we learn more of the Titan that stalks through Janthir's century, we find out where to find it and how to trap it as it seems attracted to the Bloodstone. In this section of Janthir Wilds, will we be able to find this Titan and stop it from corrupting the nearby area? Or are the rumors in the area true that there may be more than one Titan roaming the bay? That is all the story I will be talking about for this review. Now that the review of the story and maps are done, I want to turn to the new masteries in the game. There are 3 new mastery tracks and I'd love to talk about them with you now, leaving the best for last. The first mastery line we will talk about is the Lowland Coden line. This is a line that will unlock not only the spear on your account through the first unlock, but will also unlock map currency bonuses, new beehives to interact with that reset global cooldowns, but will also increase rewards from doing events in the 2 new areas. These masteries are fairly easy to get started with 2 mastery points and ending with 7. All in all, it will take 27 mastery points to collect all of them in this track. Next is the Warclaw mount rework. The Warclaw was introduced into Guild Wars 2 as a mount for world versus world. Its first skill would claw down enemies dealing massive damage. Its second skill, Sniff, would find targets in the area even if they were stealthed. The third skill would chain the mount to a keep door and damage the door through chain pull. A lance can be thrown with the fourth skill to get another player off their mount and into combat, while the fifth skill was a simple dash. With the rework for Warclaw into PvE, the skills have mostly stayed the same, just used for different areas. Skill 1 is still a pounce to help kill enemies that are otherwise shielded. The Sniff skill will help your Warclaw track the scent of quest-specific NPCs, while also being able to find buried treasure. You will be able to help some of the Coda fell timber to help with upkeep on their homes with the chain pull, while the lance is used to attack foes while mounted. From there, the Warclaw also becomes very nimble on its feet, gaining access to multiple jumps in the air, as well as a mid-air dash depending on your energy bar. The final upgrade for the Warclaw grants a energy recharge of 20% permanently. The Warclaw section will cost you 20 mastery points to complete. Last but not least, we get to the main draw of the expansion, at least for me. The introduction of player housing inside of Guild Wars 2. These are called homesteads and will be unlocked when you reach the 3rd chapter of the story. As you get more familiar with the Lowland Coden and Stoic Alder, he offers you a place to stay, so long as you do the upkeep, on a house away from the rest of Lowland Shore. With a little help from Stoic Alder and Pokey, you get the homestead cleaned up and use it as your base of operations during the story of Janthir Wilds. When you get access to the homesteads, you also get access to a new crafting profession that is always on. This technically lets you have 5 crafting professions with the licenses, but you can never turn it off and will help you make new decorations. You are allowed up to 1,000 decorations in the homestead, and they use new recipes outside of the ones unlocked through guilds. The new crafting primarily uses new materials earned through the homesteads by trading in basic ores, logs, and harvests for new components. You can create a multitude of decorations to start, with many more coming later on. Just do keep in mind that there is a weekly limit to purchasing the components through these new systems that can be increased to 800 per week. After that, you'll have to pay gold to get 25 pieces, starting at just over 6 gold, and increases every time you purchase them. Now as you work on the Homestead Mastery line, you will gain access to rooms on the east side of the house on the 1st and 2nd floor, 2 hallways and 2 rooms. Each upgrade unlocks one of the rooms until you have a full homestead unlocked. The house is pretty spacious and comes with a fully furnished first floor room to help the creative juices start flowing with your new handiwork crafted decorations and the brand new decorating system. Inside this new system, you'll be able to choose and place a decoration just like one would in guild halls, but they have added brand new features such as rotating on more than the X-axis, scaling, and easier slide movement to help you out. There are limits for the size of items though. Trees will hit a ceiling box, and chairs cannot be too big or small, or you will not be able to sit in them. From building something as simple as a 9-ball pool table, using the pre-order Wayfinder table with scaled-down balloons, to a fully furnished D&D room complete with statues shrunk to look like minis, to a temporary weapon stand by scaling up a statue and hiding it in the ground, the homesteads offer plenty of room and tools to make it just as you want it to be. The Homestead Mastery line will run you 10 mastery points and will also net you access in the last one to store boxes. Store boxes are infinite gathering tools that will gather all lumber, ore, and plants in one click if you have the home instance nodes which transfer over. I will tack on that you can attach a glyph to these store boxes, but do require a free glyph from your inventory to use. Jeannie, Heroine Dark on Twitch, found the pre-order Eldritch Horror tools can be traded inside of Lion's Arch to get a glyph box of your choice. I traded mine in and got 3 volatile glyphs that will stay in my homestead. The homesteads are a wonderful thing for all characters as well. If you log a character out in the homestead, they will show up if another character goes in. Characters will also gain a rested XP buff while they are in there, same as if you logged out instead of a major town. Warriors, guardians, and revenants will hang out near the front of the house. Thieves, engineers, and rangers will hang out near the mount pen or behind the house in the small woodland area. Your necromancers, mesmers, and elementalists will hang out in a small cave system near your mine. If you want to move a character for a time, you can talk with them and make them follow you. I have 8 alts in my homestead and was able to get them all to follow me. For those with 70 alts, I don't know what to tell you. I look forward to seeing this feature of the game grow, whether we get new homes with the coming expansions or purchase licenses to change the layout of our initial homestead area. The current homestead is a little buggy, but that is expected with brand new content inside of Guild Wars 2 and should be fixed completely very soon. At time of writing, scaling with the new decorating system is broken if you have your ground targeting set to instant, and should be fixed well before this video goes live. To bring this video to a conclusion, I will say this: the story is great. It has a wonderful hook and had me looking up some old lore in Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. I have a slight feeling I know where the story is leading, and if you're interested, let me know in the comments and I'll make a video for it. The characters feel alive again in their own ways, from Miss Garin being sad to annoyed near the end, Queen Jenna telling a room full of world leaders to shut up. My favorite portion is an early world leader delegation with Cantha's Empress in and the Asura's Counselor Ludo getting a few catty swipes in at each other. While I have heard gripes that there is too much talking, we need to understand that this is the opening for the story we will be dealing with for the next year. It is refreshing to see this much dialogue put into the story to get everyone ready for the rest of the expansion. My thoughts are this could be one of the best expansions for Guild Wars in a rather long time. We just have to wait on one factor. Can ANET bring it home? They have the hook set up for the rest of the expansion. They have the content planned out for each of the quarterly updates. They have a new raid, a new fractal, legendary weapons, and new decorations every update. Everyone will be satisfied, but it all comes down to if they can stick the landing and keep the momentum till the final episode. Secrets of the Obscure story felt rushed in the end and felt like a letdown. If ANET doesn't do that again and gives us a proper ending or a leap off into expansion 6, then this expansion will easily go down as one of their best ones. Thank you for checking out this quick review of the expansion. If you like this type of video, please do let me know down below and I will go back and make more from the other expansions and possibly other games I've enjoyed. I may also get voiceovers and footage from other folks for games they enjoy. Thank you one more time for your time, and I hope to see you in the next review, guide, or feature fragment podcast.